We really outdid ourselves this time. All those samurai houses packed with goods, we really hit the jackpot. I mean, besides that one house.
You haven't seen anything yet. There'll be a lot more where this came from. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all on an epic journey of pillage and plunder that will go down in horror.
You demand, boss!
These seem like the treasure hoarders we're after. Let's teach them a lesson! Incinerate!
You're open! Oh, there goes all the Mora! We worked hard to steal that, you know? Come on, boss, think of something.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining the treasure hoarders? Kurosawa. Oh, so he's the one who sent you after us, huh? Just our luck. I knew...
So what did you see inside? Was it stuffed with food supplies?
Food supplies? You kidding? That place was a complete mess. All we found was a strange-looking box. I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once we got back. But now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal? That little box for our freedom. What do you...
You've got a deal! Now show us what's in the box!
Huh?
What the...
There's nothing in here but IOUs!
Yeah, a lot of them cheap, and they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store, a Miss Aoi. We better talk to this Miss Aoi and get to the bottom of this. As for you guys, you're free to go. Just pray that our paths...
Yes, of course.
So, we redeemed ourselves for some IOUs. Does that mean we broke even?
Shut it. Let's just get out of here.
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got everything you need. Or perhaps there's something you want to inquire about? Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it? Perhaps you're here to pay off his debt?
Whoa! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy anything super expensive here?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. He'd always put the payment on his... However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost. So, he started writing out IOUs to...
So that's how he was getting those emergency provisions. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased, couldn't he just buy less?
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much they needed to sustain them. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, especially after such long and careful. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people down.
Wow. Kurosawa was purchasing, and no one ever appreciated what he did.
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, no. If you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell anyone, if you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That reminds me, it seems that most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell that sword that is...
Sword? What?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very... I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father. In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you. Oh, but before you go, if you would kindly settle today's bill.
But we didn't buy...
Information is also a kind of commodity. Don't worry. I won't charge much for information about Kurosawa.
At least we now know where the emergency provisions are coming from. Plus, we found out that Kurosawa has a... Let's go talk to Kurosawa again. And... what are you doing here all by yourself?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders?
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency
Strange. Is that really the kind of I don't really have any such recollection. Even after all you've told me. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a... But I could not deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow... This sword was once wielded by my father. I remember once when I was young, I wanted to sneak out with the blade and show it off to the kids next door. What did he say? It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. All I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed, and said to me,
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to be some words in... Can you recognize the words?
virtue, and somehow those two words seem to explain taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. But what use are virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision, and the very people I was so desperately trying to help. And the irony of all of it is, I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad.
Yet another troubled soul. When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing all ambition is... Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next poor soul. The third person who had their vision taken is supposed to be a famous swordman. Hyman heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui art. Sounds pretty This is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people around. Let's go talk to them.
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be fine. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end.
Maybe, but I'm still worried about him. Things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but it's never shaken him.
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism has taken place, he'll be...
Hey there! Did something happen?
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Get out of here! Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to regret it.
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep. We've heard all about the mighty master of Meikyo Shisui art. But then we got here and overheard you talking about how he got...
From the way you're dressed, please accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause us trouble recently that we're on high alert. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently. I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I will explain. Sensei's name is Domon, a name I'm sure you've already heard. Though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He then proceeded to defeat many other. He once said that his goal was to become the best sword master in the world. And so, even while training us, he continued to hone his own art. But then...
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He says the strangest things over and over. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's being possessed by an evil spirit. But if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over whether he'll complete...
The Grand Narukami Shrine? What's that?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head shrine maiden is reputed to have very close ties with the almighty... Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. But even one of the ordinary shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine would have clear power and authority to perform an exorcism. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to be just fine. The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both more than welcome to come and watch if you're interested.
So, losing your vision can cause possession? Guess we should come back this evening and see for ourselves.
Shh. So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive in just now, when Nanako was attending to him. She heard him whispering a few names. When she asked him who the people were, he suddenly looked panic-stricken and it looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears and looking frantically around him with bloodshot eyes. All the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew, others we didn't recognize. But they all seemed to be the names of sword masters he had defeated. One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. His senior, in fact. But Sensei defeated him in a duel. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently await the result. Here's hoping Sensei will be... Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some water. If he wakes up, he is sure to be thirsty.
Huh? Who's that sneaking around? We won't let them get away with it. Come. Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up? Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up. Aha! Suspicious person sighted!
How did you... Are you sure you're Domon's disciples? Unless... I guess it's been a few years. Maybe...
Excuse me? We're the ones asking the questions, and what are you doing sneaking around these parts?
Bad news? I'll have you know I trained side by side with Domon back in the day. Long before you ever showed. I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But if you must know, I am Domon's senior.
His senior? Wait.
Anzai? Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him ever again. When we were young, we trained under the same sword master. I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to me as a steady and dependable older practitioners of Meikyo Shisui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. But Domon was different. The first thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beaming smile. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends. Sensei said that coveting the title of I thought so too at the time. But Domon began making swift progress in his... Only then did I realize that it was Domon who had long since freed... He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought nothing less than perfection in the art.
Sure sounds like he meant business.
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei as the master. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the longest. Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the match, but my pride and my status too. Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and unfortunately that match used. After that I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down though, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind, my first reaction was to dismiss them as false. How could he? I decided to quietly come and see if it were true. Then, to my complete astonishment, I heard him call my name. So you see, I came here not to cause him any harm. Okay, you've heard my story. You should get back now.
Seems like we got it wrong this time. He wasn't here to mess up. Still, Paimon's not sure we should bring him back with us.
What? You're saying he isn't? Does that mean he's just lost his mind? But how is...
Nanako, please.
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of any but spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim to have witnessed myself. Thus, and all is certainly not lost. For I received word not long ago that Lady Yai has taken an interest in your sensei's...
Lady Yai? Is that...
the head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine? That's wonderful news!
Correct. Lady Yai is most knowledgeable indeed, and I am unable to say for certain whether an evil spirit has possessed your sensei. But
Excuse me, Miss Inagi, but I must ask, should we prepare...
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the Grand Narukami Shrine. I must leave now, but we will meet soon at the shrine. I wish Domon a full and...
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken notice of our sensei's case?
Do you mean to say that Sensei isn't renowned enough to deserve Lady Yai?
No, that's not what I meant at all. I just mean this is Lady Yai, the head shrine maiden. She has direct and close contact with the almighty Shogun herself. Anyway, you should join us too, tomorrow. Given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our sensei, we, the disciples...
Sure! After all, everyone seems pretty excited. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to find out a thing or two about the Raiden Shogun. Do you think that's Lady Yai? Oh, no wonder Junya was so excited. Also, is it just Paimon? Or did she look right at us just now? It was probably nothing.
Keep away. Keep away from me. I gave up the art of the sword. Please.
As you can see, Lady Yai, Domon has persisted in this state for some time now. He appears to see those who have lost to him in duels.
Lady Yai, it must be a possession, right? This is nothing like him at all. In the past, no matter what came his way, he would...
I'm sorry. It is clear to me that your sensei is not possessed by any evil spirit.
But... then Does that mean he...
Yes. This is a change in the person himself. Unable to cope with the tremendous pressure he was under, he suffered a spiritual collapse. With his wits impaired, he finally descended into... As one who is thrown into the sea, though he fights back desperately against his predicament, it does nothing to As for what has triggered this change, I believe it must be the loss of his vision. For to be stripped of one's vision is to be stripped...
Stripped of his ambition? But Lady Yai, even without his ambition, why should he suffer such a
Your school practices Meikyo Shisui art. Stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. What a fine notion that would be if any... There was once one who claimed to be indifferent to rank and reward, and who fled enraged when defeated by his junior. And then, what of the one who crossed blades with his own sensei and beloved fellow disciple, and defeated them both?
Lady, I'm not sure I am...
The path of the sword master is filled with twists and turns. It is no small undertaking to pursue the position of... It requires one to take their sword firmly in both hands and cut down the hopes and dreams of others. Only a deep commitment to his ambition to become the best made it possible for him to rise above the pain of these encounters. When that ambition disappeared, he began to doubt himself. As he battled his growing anxiety, he slowly descended. Much like a certain fatally flawed...
Poor sensei. To think he's been suffering so...
I'm sorry. It's all my father.
That's enough.
Huh? Isn't that Anzai? Did he follow us the whole way here?
Anzai, why are there two of you? Is that you or a ghost? You're here for revenge, aren't you? I knew it would come.
You're right to assume that my feelings towards you are far from kindly. It's been so long now that I made peace with it years ago. You did nothing wrong that day. I don't think most of the people you beat along the way would hold it against you. On the contrary, when you cut our ambitions short, now I know that we can't place our hopes in you any longer, since you've been stripped of your ambition. But that is no reason to strip them of theirs. Follow the way of the sword all the way to the highest peak.
But what if one day the same thing happens to them? I put everything I had into trying to become the best. But what if it was all a huge mistake? If there's a chance they'll end up like me one day, I'd rather they stay where they are now than go any further down this path.
Have you asked them what they think?
Sensei, after you rescued me from the hands of the pirates, I can't know whether I will suffer in my future as you... I want to keep going until the day that I can stand before everyone with...
Nanako's far from the only one. Actually...
Goodness.
You see? You can place the ambition you once had. Being stripped of your ambition is something that's never happened to me, so I can't claim to understand it. But I do know what it feels like to have your ambitions crushed. So... just as I once placed my ambitions onto you, you are not in the same position that I was. When I left, I had nothing.
I'm sorry to have made you worry for me, and for the state of Meikyo. I no longer have the resolve to become the best in the world. The emptiness and suffering inside of me will not abate, but as your sensei, I shall commit to imparting unto you. This is my promise. And I humbly ask Anzai.
You can count on that. I'd be checking in on you occasionally anyway, just to make sure you hadn't lost your... But I am now used to the life of a wanderer. I do not belong in the dojo anymore. Well, don't just stand there staring at me.
So even though his ambition was taken away, his disciples can take it over on his back.
Traveler, a moment, please.
So, my intuition was correct. The wind that blows from afar carries fresh life to these... For us to meet now is premature. Nevertheless, you set foot on these islands at precisely the right moment. I have high hopes for you, child. Don't disappoint me.
Ooh, Lady Yae seems to have taken a real interest in you. She seems super mysterious. Paimon's so curious what she really meant by all that. We can come back to it another time. For now, we should go report back to Miss... Guess who fulfilled all your wishes? Huh? Ayaka! Huh?
Traveler, Paimon, it is a pleasure to finally meet you both face to face. I have heard all about how you helped our three friends. My sincerest thanks to you.
Yeah. Short of getting them their visions back, it seems like there's no way to really help. Ayaka, how come this time you get to...
Because now that you have done the three things I asked of you, I consider you to be my friends. As you will observe, I dispense with the screen for Toma also.
Wait a second. But isn't Toma your, servant? Paimon's happy to...
Oh. Paimon, you are most entertaining. Toma is first and foremost my friend, and was so before he ever became my attendant.
Oh, okay then. Ayaka, you seem pretty different out in the open compared to how you are.
Thank you both kindly. Back to the matter at hand. You have now witnessed the pain of those deprived of their visions. What are your feelings on what you have seen? Perhaps in the eyes of a deity such as the almighty Shogun, the lives of those who inhabit the world are inconsequential. Thunders roar, lightnings flash, the winds assault, and the rains descent. But I believe that surely you understand what they must endure. It seems that perhaps now you can appreciate my feelings on all of this. In which case, perhaps you will? Really? Naturally.
All right, bravo, my lady. You were right all along.
See? I told you he wouldn't reject them. Now then, given that the remainder of our discussion pertains to matters of a more
Well, here we are again.
Please continue without me. I'll keep watch.
So, what's the deal with this place anyway? What makes it your favorite meeting spot?
This is land that was gifted to the Yashiro Commission by the Shogun.
The Kamisato clan has the exclusive right to plan, build, and repair any property on this land. Such privileges exist due to the Yashiro Commission's role in managing ceremonial affairs.
Oh, Paimon gets it! Gotta keep a...
Once the number of ceremonial affairs conducted in the city began to decline, our forebear...
Makes sense. Perfect place for a secret base.
In any case, we can talk freely here. I presume you have a few questions that you wish to ask me? The almighty Shogun. I've seen her on but only a few occasions. She inspires awe, commands respect, and exudes a sense of absolute authority. But it was her almost complete lack of any emotion. In that sense, she appeared to me to be less of a ruler and more of, well, an executive official, I suppose, focused exclusively on her The issue is this. For the vast majority of people, the Vision Hunt Decree is something that has no... After all, it is but a tiny minority of people who receive visions. Moreover, because of this, the attitude of most people towards the Vision Hunt Decree is one of...
How can they be like that?
Nevertheless, in addition to us, there is also the resistance on Watatsumi Island.
Resistance? You mean like an army fighting against the
Yes. Many who have lost or fear losing their visions have rallied together under Sangonomiya on Watatsumi Island to form a resistance. To say a little more about Sangonomiya, historically, there has always been some conflict between them and the shogunate of Narukami Island due to their different belief systems. But I do wonder whether there may be some other agenda behind their resistance movement, beyond merely fighting the Vision Hunt Decree. Of course, we have tried on numerous occasions. Unfortunately, each time they invariably adopt a stance of unconditional support for the Shogun's decisions. It almost makes one wonder whether they had a hand in the Shogun's sudden decision to issue the Vision Hunt Decree.
Ooh, Paimon has a question though.
Oh? What would you like to know, Paimon?
Have you got a plan yet to fight the Vision Hunt Decree?
To be honest, we do not.
What?
Please, do not forget that challenging the Vision Hunt Decree is tantamount to challenging a deity.
So what are we gonna do?
Well, for the moment, all we can do is try and reduce the harm that is being caused by this decree. For example, by providing vision bearers with safe refuge, or manufacturing counterfeit visions for them as a contingency measure.
You're telling Paimon that there are people out there who...
Don't underestimate the talents of the craftspeople in Hanamizaka. To the naked eye, their counterfeits are indistinguishable from the genuine article. The problem we are facing right now is that Master Masakatsu, who was providing us with counterfeit visions.
Darn! So they found out about it?
Yes. We knew it was not a long-term solution, and exactly. I feel the same way. But given mine and Toma's identities as part of the Yashiro Commission, by no means do we intend to place the burden of such a task on your shoulders alone. When you are ready, go to Hanamizaka and look for a fireworks shop run by the Naganohara family.